Alright, YouTube, this is Mr. Mean coming at you tonight at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night. We are sitting here with the guys from I.N.D.E. It's Never Dark Enough. As always, little housekeeping to start the video. Like and subscribe. Remember to tell your friends, let's grow the Meanie Army. Tonight's video du jour is a role-playing game that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a huge fan of it. I've talked about it quite a bit. I've had some of the other people on the channel, Tex, and I think Conrad was on once before, I think. So we're going back again. They've got some exciting stuff coming up, and they want to share it with us. So give some love and attention to these guys. And remember, you can always go to DriveThruRPG or to their web store and pick up a copy of the game. Starting on my left, let's introduce ourselves. Conrad, go.
Hey, yeah, so I'm Conrad. That's my actual name, as well as my handle. I'm the lead editor for Shattered, meaning I make sure that the book reads pretty, looks good. Formatting is more Zip's department. But I'm just there to make sure everything makes sense, comes together nicely.
Yeah, me and him have a love and hate relationship. I'm Josh. My handle is Zip. You'll see me around on our Discord server a lot. What do I do? A little bit of everything.
What you do is a shorter list.
I do a lot of development, fluff writing, a lot of editing. I clean up a lot of stuff before Conrad has to touch it. Social media, promotion, book assembly, publishing, shipping, everything. All the business related stuff pretty much is on my shoulders. So I do just about everything.
And hi, I'm Lost, and my primary job is basically to be the biggest pain in Zip's ass as possible. Right now I'm doing a little bit, kind of, not quite as much as Zip for his diversity of what he's doing, but writing up new systems, lore, and yes, being a huge pain in his ass. So.
Cool.
He's been spearheading a lot of our recent development, so it's been really fantastic.
All right. So the last time I had Tex and Conrad, I think, on the channel was like over a year ago, right after the Kickstarter release. And for those that don't know, one of the things we will talk about is the whole Kickstarter process, because I think a lot of people don't understand that process and aren't aware of how agonizing and painful it is. And, you know, I just wrapped up a Kickstarter with my friend where I got conscripted, and I volunteered, of course, to write an adventure for a Stranded RPG by Feral Games, Inc. Shameless plug there, but hey, it's my channel. I can do that. But I understand some of the pain you guys are going through with Kickstarter. And so, you know, we had problems with, or you guys had problems with the first one, but moving forward and putting that all behind you, I'm sure there's a lot of lessons you learned. And going down the road, starting with Conrad, what's the main takeaway that you took from that first Kickstarter?
Kickstarters aren't free, and you need to be prepared. And breaking that down, Kickstarter doesn't really advertise for you. So advertising is still something you have to take into account for your Kickstarter plan. You really need to be as regimented as possible. You know, we're going to launch the Kickstarter on this date. We're going to start our ads on this date. You know, we're going to push these avenues, X, Y, and Z. And that's something that has to be part of your plan as you move forward. So it's not free. And then what I meant about the other bit, it's being prepared. You can't come in with nothing. People expect, I would say, a minimum of 50% of a product before you go to a Kickstarter. You can't just come and say, oh, I have this great idea. Everyone has great ideas. That's why Kickstarter exists. You have to come in with art. You have to come in with physical examples if that's your kind of game. People need to know that something already exists or they will refuse to invest in it. And I feel like if we had more of a product, we actually could have done much better with the Kickstarter, which we didn't know at the time, but we know now. And so in the future, we will definitely come with probably 75% of a product before we try to push a Kickstarter again. That's really important.
Yeah. Zip, what do you think?
Well, yeah, to piggyback off of that, I think the biggest, aside from having a few systems that were still only concept when we hit the start of our campaign, which is obviously, you know, mistake that we learned from, especially in the tabletop world, or if you're having anything that's going to be printed, at least to have the initial layout put together, because that takes forever. And if you're like, in our case, like towards the tail end of it, we're getting feedback from backers looking at our beta builds of the game and stuff, and they'd point something out and we'd be like, oh shit, how did we miss that? So we'd have to write up something to fix whatever they found, and then the write-up for that took up more space and started pushing different elements around and stuff like that. So if you don't have a plan for how that's going to look, it makes it a lot harder to adapt on the fly when stuff like that comes up. Outside of that, I think it really does come down to planning. And, because there's so much stuff that people don't really think about. And like in our case, shipping was the big one. Like we knew we had to ship. Obviously, you go into this, if you're shipping a physical product, that needs to happen. It's a lot easier if you're doing just like PDF stuff. But if you're shipping something physical, it's okay, where are you going to make it? How long is it going to take to get to you? How are you going to handle the distribution out to your backers? And all of that is convoluted, crazy expensive, and it's a mess if you don't have a plan for that ahead of time.
Never forget where you're going to store it as well.
Yeah, the whole logistics, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I've often heard it said of a lot of businesses that there's businesses that are run by artists, and then there are businesses that are run by business people. And the ones run by business people tend to be a little bit more well organized, whereas artists, they just kind of
and the same goes, yeah.
And see where it lands.
And the same goes for like game stores and any other kind of business. When you're passionate about a project, no matter what it is, even in your day-to-day work or your day-to-day life, passion only takes you 50% of the way. You have to have that business acumen to be able to execute, and organize. And I think you guys learned a valuable lesson on your first one, talking to techs. And just my own experience with dealing with other game companies and stuff. And I've been in this hobby for 30 years from a wee lad on up. And so I feel your pain there. I totally understand. And it just amazes me when I look at these Kickstarters and I read, all the notes and everything that people put, and like, well, where's this? And, and, the designer or the developer is like, we're sorry, we weren't prepared, and, we all like to sit back and dream and go, God, I hope this thing goes gangbusters and I make $1 million. And the reality of it, that's probably your worst nightmare, because there's a level of expectation. Well, it's true though, right? There's a level of expectation, and gamers have, people, I shouldn't say gamers, the buying populace has forked over X amount of dollars for a product that doesn't even exist in most cases. I think what a lot of Kickstarter people are starting to realize now is at least have 50% or more of the product done and ready for development and or production when you start the Kickstarter. And you guys learned that as well. And like you said, you had opened up the feedback. I remember participating in some of that feedback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was invaluable stuff. The other thing you really want to do is you want to be prepared for some really harsh criticism.
Yes.
And if you don't go in ready for that and you don't toughen up beforehand, like, you're going to take some of the stuff personally, and you shouldn't as much as possible. Because
it's a business. At the end of the day, even though it's a passion product and it's something that you love and your heart and soul is into it, it's still a business. You are providing a product and a service for a fee. And so you can never, ever take that personally. So, yeah, very, very well said. All right, Lost, your turn, buddy.
Well, going again on what you had kind of hit, organization is probably the number one. Make sure you have like exactly what you're going to do, what your product is going to have, like down to the letter. and that will save so much time. Other things, some minor things to always keep into consideration. International shipping costs are always higher than you think they are.
Even if you reach out to them the day the Kickstarter completes to lock in the price, it's going to change.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Because of fuel cost. I mean.
Well, and we got real lucky shipping through Amazon because their prices were relatively affordable as far as these things go. But what we didn't know at the time is that they don't ship books to Canada and they don't ship books to Israel. And I'm sure there are probably a couple other countries in there too. When that came up, our only option was to go through like UPS, which was insanely expensive, or ship it out USPS, and that was like, for the one guy in Israel, it cost more to ship the book than it cost to make it.
Sneak them into Canada and mail them from there.
We talked about it.
Yeah, that's almost where you want to have someone, with a murder van, the white van with no windows. I was going to use another 4-letter word that starts with an R and ends with an E, but that might offend some people, so I don't want to go there. But, put the books in there and drive it over the border and then, ship it through Royal Canadian Post. But I think that's illegal. So please don't do that.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Well, I used to be a customs agent, so I know for a fact it's illegal.
And I think shipping to Canada, and like from where we have the book stored here in Western New York, like I could drive to Canada in an hour and a half.
Right.
And
would have solved all your problems.
And shipping it like to Ontario, which is like just over the border, cost like $30.
Yeah, it's redonkulous, and part of that is the broker fees, the importation fees, and and everything like that. So it is painful. The other problem you guys had, and I don't want to get too deep into it because it's already been hashed out, but the whole China printer thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Conrad's like crap, and just
sound right there.
Yeah, I mean it. Everyone wants to save a buck, and I think the valuable lesson you guys learned is go with a reliable printer. Whether they're in China, Canada, or the U.S., go with someone that's reliable and you can sign a contract with, and that contract is enforceable on U.S. soil. Because a lot of times, if you're dealing with overseas, the contract is not enforceable in their country. So you can be pissed off and mad and everything else, but you ain't getting your money back, and they've got your product, or they don't fulfill it to the specs that you sent them, and you guys learned that the hard way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So anything else on that subject, whatever, English is hard for me.
The only other thing I'd say in regards to, where you're sourcing your product from is, you can do all the research you want, and in our case, like, they sent us a very nice proof copy of the book.
Beautiful sample.
So we thought everything was good. And then when it showed up, when it showed up, it was done. And so even if you find a reputable printer in China, everybody has an off day, and if they have an off day and it just happens to be your product and they don't work with you to address the problems,
you're in a world of hurt.
There's really nothing you can do about it, because even if you were able to successfully sue them, no Chinese court is going to enforce anything.
Right.
So do it at your own risk. There are good, reputable Chinese printers out there. They do exist. And this industry has to rely on Chinese printers heavily.
Yeah.
There's lots of good resources out there to find them. I cannot recommend Print Ninja enough, because they have Chinese print facilities, but they're owned and operated primarily here in the States.
Right.
So when you're dealing with the pre-print process and QA checking and things like that, it's all done here stateside. So you don't have any issues with any language barrier, any cultural differences.
And that's who you guys went through after the whole fiasco, correct?
Yes, that is who we went through, and I cannot recommend them.
And I've heard good things about them as well from other publishers. So that's encouraging to know that there are some Chinese-based / American-based companies or Canadian-based that, you know, will work with you and will give you an avenue, you know, for dealing with issues that pop up. And I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again, barring the Degenesis RPG, you guys have the #1 book on the market as far as I'm concerned. As far as the layout and the art go, it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean,
Hell yeah.
and I have gushed over that art so much. I bought the damn T-shirt, guys. Come on, because I love the vampire
I'll
art.
take that, man. That's high praise.
I'll take a #2 to Genesis any day of the week.
Right. I mean, it's. I don't know if you guys can see it back there, but that white, that's the Degenesis box set. So yeah.
That game makes me angry.
Oh, doesn't it?
I look at that game. I look at their website. Everything about their design.
But look at what they do for a living.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I mean, and they just, is it not the coolest name ever? Six More Vodka?
Yo, I love it.
I mean, you know, but that aside, I mean, you guys are hot on their heels. The art is phenomenal. The layout of the book is great. You know, and Tex had shown me the pictures of the fiasco that was the first print run. And I mean, my heart sank and I'm just the poor schlub that shelled out money, you know, to get in on the Kickstarter. And when I saw that, I felt bad for you guys. I really did. Cause I was like, that's like the hottest chick in the world. That's like Sofia Vergara coming up and kicking you in the balls and saying no. You know, it's just, you know, it's every gamer's wet dream. And then on top of that, she nails you in the nuts, you know? So it was just painful, but you guys bounced back. You fought hard and you put out an amazing product. So that is encouraging because you guys, this is the first time you guys have done it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys never did.
No arrogance whatsoever.
None.
So you know, take heart, you aspiring publishers and game designers. It can be done, and it can be done successfully. It may take a little, you know, work and effort, but it can be done. So with that said,
don't give up.
Don't give up. Bingo. That said, what's on the horizon? What are we looking at next for Shattered?
Boy.
The website got overhauled.
That's actually still in process,
but it looks better than it did before.
Oh yeah, we did an overhaul of the website. We're doing another one. Working on some hopefully cool web features that will come eventually. Conrad, we've got a lot of different things that we've kind of been toying with and working on. So I know Conrad has one in particular.
And don't let me put you on the spot. If it's something you don't want to talk about, just say we can't deal with that right now. I mean, but if there's any,
I can talk about it.
Yeah, light us up, man. Let us in. Give me the scoop.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the items in the items purchasable section of our book, you'll notice it's called the Polto deck. We describe it as basically being like a tarot deck. I'm working on actually producing a full deck, and I've also already developed, I think it's 3 games so far to be played with the deck.
Yes.
So the deck has, let's see, it was 8. It's the 8 of the aspects we have for martials. So, you know, fire, water, earth, air, hate, love, what was
Or
that?
peace, air,
Dark and light, I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah, there's 2 that are missing from the deck.
Oh, okay.
So we have those, and then those are each broken into castes. So it goes beggar, beast, craft, soldier, martial, matriarch, avatar. And so with those cards, it ends up being, I think, 56 cards is in the deck. So pretty close to a standard size deck, but there are no numbered cards. Each one it's much like a tarot deck. So in the future, I'm going to work out kind of a system for using it like a tarot deck, how to basically tell the future or whatever you want to do, cast fortunes and the like. But I have 3 games that I've developed for it that are kind of based on games we already have. So the first one was called Mender, and long story short, the idea of the game is to basically just acquire either all of one aspect or all of one cast to win the round. And you play until, someone has enough points to win. The next game, I forget what I called it. Yep, I'm gonna forget.
It's like
But it's
Beggars,
basically.
Beggars Bluff or something like that. I thought one of them was.
Oh yeah, Beggars Best.
Yeah, might
Something
have
like
been.
that. Yeah.
I love to see the gears turning.
Maybe there's. But yeah, it's played kind of like Hearts. So
Ooh.
usually 4 people's the best number of people to play with. But basically, the avatars are high, beggars are low. My twist on the game is that you have the normal like trumping aspect in this case instead of a suit. But if the avatar is played, the beggar can actually beat it. So that was my own little twist on it. And then I basically am trying to work out. I was like, oh, poker's easy, right? So I was like, just looking at the standard, it's not easy when you have no number cards. Because now the question is like, how do I build pairs? How do I build? Because there are no repeated cards. They're all either the same aspect or cast. So where do I draw that line on? Is 3 in a row enough? So
Right.
I'm working on that, but we'll see. Because that might be a bit more work than it's worth.
Well, you know a certain YouTuber that could play test for you, so and give an honest review too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, please, absolutely.
It's always content, man. Always content. Drive Through RPG does great. I just did a review earlier today of Amazing Universe by Lewis Porter Jr. design. And this is Drive Through RPG. They print on poker stock paper, so it's just like a deck of cards. And I'm telling, they send it in this nice little case. This is 56 cards. It was $10.
I don't know if I sent you any of our collector cards from the Kickstarter campaign, but we got those made from Drive Through RPG.
Yeah. I don't know if you did or you didn't. Like I said, can't find the dice.
I don't recall. I probably would have slipped one in there for you just so you could have it and just so I could get rid of another pack. But
well,
they make good cards.
Let me know what your PayPal is, and I'll send you a couple bucks. You can send me a few.
Okay.
And if you got any more of the dice, I want another set. Those are probably gone though.
They might be.
Yeah, they were cool dice though, I have to admit. To go along with an uber cool book. All right, so we've got the cards coming. Are they going to be tarot card size, like the elongated cards? Because that would be super cool.
Thinking about it, I'm not sure.
Because if you're going to throw in the tarot feel, right? If you're going to say it's a tarot deck, it's kind of got to be that oversized, And of course, there's the cost consideration and the shipping and all that fun stuff. So obviously, you got to take that into account.
I might make it larger than the standard size deck, but I mean, again, I still also intend for them to be played, with actual games. So maybe a middle ground, but I don't know. That might have to be customized. That might be way more expensive.
Yeah,
I decided at this point.
Zip can deal with the guys that drive through and figure it all out, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll get lost to do all the proofing.
Oh God, don't do that.
You didn't think we were going to forget about you just because you decided not to share your camera. I mean, come on. All right, so we're talking some website update. We're talking possibly 3 card game update in the future.
We've got that. I've got a card game that I've been working on for a while, but I don't really have anything to say about it because it's not in a state that I could even really talk about.
What about books? Anything? Any new? I know there's some errata. Tex has been working on something with the errata. Yeah. That's probably going to be a PDF though, right? Say again.
I'm sorry. I've got a whole list of things to go through for you. So, yeah, I've got my own card game that I've been working on. We've got more additions to the campaign. Earlier, I think around January, we released Chapter 1 of our campaign for free out on Drive Through RPG. And we're in. I couldn't give a percentage, but we're partway through getting Chapter 2 squared away, and then Chapter 3 will come shortly after that. And our intention is to keep all of that free in PDF for people so they can just grab it and go if they're new to Shattered and all that. And then we recently, I don't know, how long has it been, Lost? A month, 2 months, maybe.
No, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 2 months. We started work on finally some expansion material to the core game. And I don't know if we're comfortable sharing any of the details at this point.
No, don't. Then you don't. Please don't. It's good to know that something is in the works, though. I guess that's.
I would say we can share that it will push the calendar forward.
Yeah.
Probably
I can say
quite
that.
a bit. We're looking at a couple new magic systems, so new archetypes to be considered for players, and then some overworld plot devices that people could use. I
Excellent.
would say that those are the biggest things that we're looking at right now.
Probably a couple of additions to the crafting vehicle world, but that's still
That's kind of up in the air right now.
that's still up in the air.
Anything involving vehicles, it takes a while to make sure that works.
Right. It doesn't break the core mechanics.
Vehicles and people combat, potentially larger vehicles like airships involved as well. You have to make sure it kind of scales appropriately.
Right.
Scaling is a pain.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, and you guys did, so you got the core book, which is on drive-through and purchasable through your website, Never Dark Enough or Never Dark, or it's
NeverDarkEnough.com.
yeah, Never Dark, shattered.neverdarkenough.com. It'll be displayed on the bottom when we post. You've got the first part of a 3-part adventure out. That's for free.
Yep.
Are you guys doing any? I mean, the point is to sell books, right? I mean, the overall end of the day, that's the point. It's a passion project, but I would hope that you guys want to sell books and see it on game stores, shelves, and stuff like that. So, what is there anything like? Is there any incentive like for anybody who downloads all 3 of the adventures? Is there any what drives people to buy the book? Is it get the adventure and then go, oh, I need the Shattered rule book, and then they go to drive through, or they go because physical books are still available, correct?
Oh yeah.
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 Sitting in Texas garage and
actually right behind me there is all my Shattered stuff.
There they are.
shipping boxes and
Nice.
and some other stuff.
So if my viewers want to go, they can reach out and they can get a copy, right? A hard copy. And
I get to claim all that space on my taxes every year. So.
That's right. That's a business expense, right?
Yeah.
So's that office right there, man. Don't sell yourself short.
You could claim the whole house.
Yeah, there you go. The office too. I think obviously we want to drive people to the game, and I think not to take a note from Genesis, even though we mentioned them earlier. They're the 2 things that they sell if you go to their website or any of their media anywhere. It's always they sell the art and they sell the world, and those are the 2 big things that are going to drive people to play, because they've got system stuff up there on their website, but it's not the first thing you see, and usually it's like, wow, this looks so cool, I want to play it. And so that's kind of the same kind of direction we're hoping to take with everything that we put out. Is we want this art to like draw people in, and then they start reading, find a world they want to explore, and then hopefully they play.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I found you guys through Bear because I was looking at his Kickstarter. Small World, right? And it was funny enough because I interviewed Tex and Conrad, and then I interviewed Bear. And I didn't back Bear's Kickstarter because I didn't know about it at the time. I knew Bear through Warframe because I play Warframe online. Yeah, and so I didn't know he had a game or anything like that. I just watched a couple of his videos and I reached out to him, and we just kind of sparked a friendship. And then Tex put me in touch with Bear. So it's a big convoluted circle. And I love the art in Biomundus. I never say it right, so hopefully I got it right. I don't have the book yet. It's on its way. Well, soon, hopefully. But I just lost my whole train of thought there. I'm getting old, guys.
That's okay.
Well,
Oh,
other than-
6
I mean,
more
Conrad
vodka.
did art for us. So I mean, that's how small a world it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's how we
And
found out about his game. He's like, "Hey, I love your game. I backed it. I would love to do some art." He did a bunch of like fan art basically for some of the races.
He took us to a convention to alpha test with a bunch of people at a convention one year with
nice.
one
One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Absolutely.
This guy would give you the shirt off his back.
He's done our art.
Yeah.
He's run a playtest for us.
He's a super nice guy. Well, I mean, and if, Zip saying that you're following, I don't want to say following, but you're using 6 more vodka as I don't want to say a role model, but as a template, let's say. I think
someone to emulate.
Exactly. Go with the best. And you guys are, first of all, aside from being a Flushing gushing fanboy, you guys are well on your way, man. I mean, it's I'm just mad that I live in a part of the country where everybody only knows D&D. And it's part of the reason why I made this channel 2 years ago is I was just tired of seeing 1,001 different D&D videos, about people reviewing D&D this, D&D that, or Pathfinder. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, that is 8 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and I can't get another book in there, and I got 10 boxes over here on my side that you guys can't see, full of RPGs. So obviously to say that RPGs are a passion of mine is an understatement. Sure. And there's just so many other great games out there, Shattered, Degenesis, Savage World. I mean, there's 1,000,001 games out there, and there's very few bad RPGs. There's just bad game masters, or bad people, I should say, because sometimes it's not the game master that makes the game bad, it's the players. But that being said, right, we've all had that guy in our game or that girl. But one of the things I love about you guys have been very transparent, even through the whole Kickstarter, redesign of the website, the Discord channel, pumping information out, saying what's happened here, what's happened there, what we're trying to do, what we're going to do to make it right. And it's one of the few Kickstarters that I've witnessed where there wasn't a whole lot of, oh, you guys are assholes, you just ripped us off, or, like you see a lot of that. There's that 800-pound gorilla syndrome behind the keyboard, because we're all 800-pound gorillas behind the keyboard until we meet them in face to face. And then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you guys are great, and don't really get a lot of that from your community, which is an amazing thing, first of all. I troll the Discords a lot, and it's usually everyone, looking for a game, offering information, being helpful, being polite. You guys, chiming in and saying things. So that's one of the things I wanted to bring up is that you guys do have a Discord channel, and it is very active. So, people should go check it out and, just enjoy it for what it is. It's a wonderful world. It's very eclectic, to say the least. Fenris, great name, Ragnarok, the god, everything that you guys have put in there. It's like common tropes, but it's all put together in such a fashion that it's like, my God, this is fucking cool, is the only way to say it, I said this was not safe for work. I meant it.
It's one of our core design philosophies was that you can't avoid the tropes. They're going to happen, right? So, we have like the hyper militarist industrial city pulse. We have, the, skill is, what would I say? Personal ambition above all else. We have all these tropes. But it was important to us to make sure that everything came through in a new way. So to hear you say that that's
no, it's I mean, just the freaking art alone in the book is just enough to make, and I said it in my initial review of the game. This is a coffee table book. This is one of those books that you could put on the coffee table and your grandma would come over and pick it up, and she may not get it because of the genre, but the actual physical presentation is like there's something in there that she's going to go, oh, that's cool, or that's neat or nifty if she's old like me. And
that's 100% true. I think we sold at least 20 coffee table books. Like people were like, I'm just buying this for the art. I'm not probably actually going to play it. We're like, yeah, man, cool, go for it. Like,
yeah, I don't care. Just give me your money. You don't want to sound like you're money grubbing, but the point is, at the end of the day, it's commerce, right? You guys have families, you have rent, you have expenses, you have a car note, you have kids, Conrad, and you have kids, and that requires money, right? I mean, we do this.
I'll be straight up with you. We have not we have not actually collected a cent from Shattered.
Oh, right.
We've actually significantly spent money.
Well, and I, off the record, I Tex told me the whole situation with the second printing and everything. And so, yeah, I know you guys haven't made anything. And that's, hopefully this video, will drum up some sales and people will go buy it, because Jesus Christ, guys, if you want cool art in a neat world, this is the fucking game to get. I mean, and the mechanics aren't terribly difficult. And I hate to say this, but it's got everything in the kitchen sink in it. It's a little bit of everything for everybody. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
I do think we kind of did that. And it might have been a little unintentional too, but
right.
It was just kind of, there are only a handful of things that we had to rip out at the last minute because we just didn't have time.
Airships.
Yeah.
Well, airships we got in, but we were like, yeah, we want to do steam armor, and it just didn't materialize.
That's going to be tough. The races, if nothing else. Have you guys thought about doing like just an art book with some of the plates? Well, first let me answer this. Do you guys 100% own the art that's in the book?
Yes.
Okay, so that out of the way, you can print an art book.
Oh, yeah.
And the profits would be all yours.
Yeah.
Aside from the production cost, which is 20 to 30, sometimes 40% of the book, depending on where you go and how you go about it.
It's all about the shipping.
I'm going to throw this at you, and somebody make a note, because I think this is amazing. I don't know if you can see back there in the corner. It says, when the GM smiles, it's too late, right? It's a common saying.
That's true. Yep.
That's what's called Displate. Do you guys know about Displate? DISPLATE.com. Go set up a store. Put your art up there. It's a metal plate. It's made in Poland. Cost around $40 if you're not a member. If you join up for $3 a month, $2.99, you get free shipping. And then they're always having 20 to 40% off sales. So like I got my wife a real nice kind of like a phoenix, mythological phoenix rising out of the ashes. It cost me $22 for that size, which is a standard. It's a little bit bigger than a sheet of paper. It's 22 by 17, I think, or 19. It's decent size, and they go up from there. And of course, the price is exponential. But I think if you guys create a store,
yeah,
and you put that art up there, I'll be the first freaking guy in line. I'll tell you that right now.
We'll definitely look into that, because we've got some pieces that.
Oh my God! Well, I bought the vampire T-shirt because of the art and the what's the mushroom? The plant
Florvana.
Yeah, that was my second. I was like, ooh, they're both cool. I don't know which one to go with.
That actually brings up something interesting that I think kind of helped inform some of our decisions. You talked a minute ago about how we try to stay really open and transparent with our community and things like that, and we always had kind of intended that, but I think our Kickstarter campaign really nailed that home for us. But when we were offering like the build your own NPC or build your own monster, or in the case of the Florvana, build your own race tiers in the campaign, I think that kind of opened it up to be like, we may have kind of developed this world, but our players can add so much more to it if we give them the opportunity. And I think that kind of really opened things up for us and how we decided to handle
that's
engagement and stuff like that.
Well, what gamer isn't an attention hog, first of all? Part of why, I'm very rarely ever a player. I'm always the GM. There's a reason. I'm a glory hound. I'm the center of attention kind of guy. That's just how I am. And those kind of people make the better GMs because, we're crazy.
Good for you, though, because we don't ever have enough GMs to go around to all the players that are out there.
Well, I started to touch on this before, and I got sidetracked, which I want to do because, well, I'm not all there upstairs. But I tried to get my local gaming group to play, and no interest. Six guys, one of them a 13-year-old teenager, and none of them wanted to try it. But now, in that same vein, I showed them Degenesis, and they said no. So, now, yeah, I know. I would if I could, man, but and I love you guys if you're watching and my players are watching. Here's the thing. I went out and I bought Free League Publishing, great publisher, makes Simbaroom, makes the Aliens RPG, Coriolis.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They came out with Aliens, the RPG, right? And
that's right.
I grew up with Aliens, all right? That's my jam. And I bought all the books because I thought my players are going to love this. These are all the kind of guys that are kind of into the same thing I'm into, and they know I run some spooky shit. They're going to love this. So I go out and I drop the $70 on everything. I got a great discount at Game Geeks or Game Nerds online. Anyway, I bought it online somewhere and got a smoking deal on it. Get it home, show everybody. Oh, guys, you're going to love this. I put it all in front of them, and they all go, meh. Nah, we don't want to play Aliens. I said, okay, I've got an alternative. I said, I just got this new game called What's Old is New. Right? Sci-fi. You know, they go absolutely apeshit. It's a free fucking game. You can download this for free. I just spent $80-something on Aliens, and I could run Aliens in this, literally. I could run it.
Sure.
And they went, oh, yeah, we want to play that. I hate my players. I love you guys if you're watching, but I fucking hate them.
It's some groups, man, and some people, they figure out what they like and they stick to it.
And everybody, again, the shelf of shame. I have all these games and I want to play them. Shattered included, Degenesis included. And I can't because nobody wants to play them. They only want to play D&D. I managed to get them to try Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and they fell in love with it. But they're still like
the D&D to not feel too far removed.
Yeah. Then they're like, well, if you want to go back to D&D,
it's weird to me. I don't know. I think that's one thing that really is a positive thing in our team because we're all pretty much on the same page. We obviously have different preferences, but at one point, one of us was like, yo, man, we should play some Warhammer 40K. And I apologize. I'm just going to say right now, I apologize to you guys for not continuing that game because I was GMing it. But we started playing Only War, and we all fell in love with it. There's a pretty steep learning curve because there's just so many rules.
It's a great game,
because they're playing a mobilized unit, so they had to learn combat rules and vehicle combat rules all at the same time.
Yeah.
We all picked it up pretty quick, and everyone got into it immediately. And I think that's definitely something that's really helped us. We're all on the same page. We all wanted airships. We all love the magic the way it is. We love sci. And so that's really helpful. And I can't imagine not being on the same page as you guys.
And all of us love different kinds of RPGs. None of us are solely D&D. In fact, I'd probably argue that most of us probably will choose something else over D&D most of the time.
Can you guys adopt me? Does that how do I get into that clique? Because I need you guys in my life.
Our Discord is always looking for GMs. There's people wanting to run games right now, so you've got players. They're just waiting on you, dude.
I know. I'm trying to learn Foundry VTT. I just bought it. It opened. It released on I think the 22nd or the 25th, and it puts Roll20 to shame in its abilities. So, but I'm just not I'm in IT. I'm a systems administrator by trade. But
right.
The old saying, you work on computers all day. The last thing you want to do is come home and work on a computer all evening. So basically, I've been running my games pretty much just Discord. And my requirement is voice and video. I want to see your face. So yeah, I should go post something over there. I'm running What's Old is New right now. And it's been a blast. And unfortunately, couple of our players can only play bi-weekly, and I'm like, oh, I want to play weekly because I got all these ideas going through my head, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And the game system, the mechanics are super easy. So yeah, but I do want to run a Shattered game. It's still on my list of things to do. And I just
We do have a die roller in the server too. So,
that's what real dice. I bought the freaking dice, man. Come on.
yeah.
No, I'm a physical dice roller guy. I want to hear that
Oh,
clank
yeah.
on the table.
I'm just saying for your players.
Yeah, if the players want to roll, I got a dice spot on my channel, and the players roll the dice on Discord. I think one of them actually rolls physical dice. But now the other players are getting jealous, because they hear the clank of the dice, and it's just a different feel. So and whatever floats your boat. So let's see. Lost, you've been awful quiet, buddy. Give me something.
What do you need?
I don't know what's going on in your world. What's your game du jour besides Shattered? Because that's the default answer.
My fallback is actually I do love a good 40K, except I always for some reason will always just play just a guardsman. I'm boring when it comes to that, and I don't.
You're the
know
red
why.
shirt of the group.
I
You
usually
just like
wind up
suffering.
being the one that survives anyway.
Yeah. Probably.
My
I'm
That
usually
doesn't surprise
pretty
me at all.
I'm usually pretty reckless, but
my jam is Inquisitor. That's the one. What is it? Not Inquisitor. What's it called?
Dark Heresy.
Dark Heresy. Thank you. That's the one I enjoy running, and I bought wholeheartedly into second edition, and I put my first edition books away. The learning curve on all of the 40K games is just so steep, and you start out being horrible. I mean, I had a psyker do a power and wind up TPKing the whole group. I had 7 players, and they were in a huge barracks, an Imperial Guard barracks. And he wound up firing off his powers, and he rolled I think double aught, and just wind up. And we rolled random on the charts because I love chart. Who doesn't love charts? And he wind up floating everybody at 60, 70 meters in the air, and then the power turned off, so they all fell and pretty much took enough damage. They were already beat up from the guardsmen who were whooping their ass, and so anything that could go bad did go bad, and it was a TPK. But it's still one of my favorite games. So
it is a little steep because it is one of those games that does rely on your knowledge of the lore a little bit more than most.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And I know we had a first ed Dark Heresy game many years ago, where a couple of the guys knew nothing about the lore, and one of them just randomly decided to go to sleep on top of a blood-inscribed chaos symbol. That wouldn't happen in real 40K, or no one in their right minds would do that. But because he didn't know the lore, he did it, and then the GM turned him into a demon.
Right. It's like playing Cthulhu and you read the book, right? Everybody knows you don't read the book in Cthulhu. So what do you do? You play for fun, and it's fun to play. So it's but coming back to Shattered, because we can babble about other RPGs all day long. Is there another Kickstarter in the future?
Oh, I would say definitely. I'd say likely for the expansion, and probably for a few other things. We had been kind of, prior to the current pandemic, we were looking at a couple of smaller, more manageable Kickstarters for a few small things. We were looking at dice mats or card mats.
Ooh.
You get people that play Magic the Gathering and stuff like that, and they'll roll them out for their cards or whatever. We were thinking about that. We were looking at a Game Master screen because we really want to have one. I've been working on for a while on trying to figure out how to get monsters onto 3x5 cards or something like that, so a GM could just grab a card and go.
Have you seen the box set Bestiary from Pathfinder 2nd Edition?
I have. It's very nice.
Monster cards. One side is the art. the other side, and they're larger. They're like 5x7 cards.
Yeah.
You can't see it. It's behind the big D20 up there. But like I said, I run a Pathfinder 2nd edition game, and so those things are amazing. I haven't gotten to use them yet because of COVID. Damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely that's, and I think it sounds from talking to all you guys and my information from the previous interview with Tex, you guys have learned so much that the next Kickstarter should be flawless or as close to flawless as can be, right? Because you're dealing with people. So there's always that chaotic element. What about, like a lot of publishers now, and it's become real big since COVID because people can't ship stuff as easily. What about production quality PDF selling on drive-through?
So, I mean, yeah, anything that we want to print, we will definitely make available in PDF because sometimes that's the preferred method. I know, like right now, one of the many things I'm working on is building a new copy of the Shattered Core book to incorporate all of the errata, so that if you happen to be using the PDF, it's all right there. You don't have to go reference something else. Making a few quality of life layout changes in that to make things look a little bit more snazzy and things like that. And then once that's done, because I'm rebuilding the book from the ground up, I'll be able to translate that into other formats a lot more easily. Once it's done, I'll be looking at phone-friendly formats.
The
ebook, what's needed for that.
Your iPad, right? How many languages is it currently in? Have you guys translated to other languages?
No. We probably could get it translated into a couple. We've got some friends in other countries that might do it if we ask them to or if we pay them to, but it really is a matter of time and finances.
Right.
And
understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, and you ship worldwide, and I hate to say it, America is one of those countries where we're the dumb, because in a lot of foreign countries they can read and speak English quite fluently. So
yeah.
I've been to Germany a couple of times, and I was amazed at just how many people spoke English. Same thing in China. I was amazed in China when I was in mainland China at how many people spoke English and were just willing to help, with simple directions and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that's like a deal breaker, so to speak. You guys have a following, and when people see the art, that's enough right there to get people to buy. And I heard one gentleman, I was talking to him on my Discord. He was talking to me about Shattered, and he's in Spain, and he didn't read English until he started playing Shattered with his friends. So
wow,
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was quite a compliment to me because he bought the game on my review. He understood English, he couldn't read it.
Damn.
And so he saw my review, and he was like, you sold it to me. So yeah, I can't go wrong there. So yeah, and it's those kind of stories that make doing this worth it for me, because I do this in my spare time for fun. I don't really make any money off of this. I do it for fun. There's a couple people that kick down a little cash here and there, and it's much appreciated. And I have a good job now, so the money goes right back into the channel. One of my viewers, Miguel, he sent me a Sennheiser mic, which I looked on Amazon. Nice. Yeah, it's like a $160 mic, and I was like, wow, because I needed a 360 direction, 360 degree arc microphone to record my Pathfinder games. And I just mentioned it, in one of my videos, and he reached out to me on Discord, and he's like, hey, I've got this extra mic, and he told me what it was. He said, look up the specs, let me know if it'll work. And, I went on Amazon like everybody does and started reading the reviews, and A, the reviews were amazing, and B, I'm like, the price, I was like, dude, I can't take that. That's too much money. He's like, no, I bought two and I don't need it. So, in fact, it's what I'm using to record right now. That's how much I like it. And I have a snowball in the back, and it's packed away now. I don't even use it anymore because the snowball is not omnidirectional. So
I have been meaning to pick up a good mic. There's been some discussion of trying to start up a podcast too. So that's
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a labor of love, and the technical difficulties. Luckily, OBS is pretty solid, especially with this latest update. Discord is amazing. I think Discord is the best thing to hit the internet since porn. I mean, really, it's, it allows me to do a lot of what I do. You guys, the Discord channel, it's just another great way to communicate, stay in touch with your fans and your friends and your family. For God's sakes, please don't use Zoom.
It killed our forums. Discord completely destroyed any hope of our forums ever being used.
Well, because we as human beings want instant gratification. So I can go to a forum and I can, hey, on page 37 it says rule XYZ. Is that correct? And now I got to wait. I got to keep F5, refresh my screen. Or I can go to Discord. Hey, on page 37 it says XYZ. Is that correct? And I'll get 30 answers in 10 seconds, and I don't have to wait. So
forums will never know the pain of play-by-post.
Right, play-by-post, BBSs.
And sit there and F5 refresh.
Yeah, right. So forum businesses are probably, any of those companies that host forums are probably going out of business left and right thanks to Discord. But on top of that, just the medium that it allows us to do something like this, where we can do video, voice and video chat pretty clear. You guys sound awesome. You look great, Conrad. But because I'm such a catch.
Sorry.
Yeah. Don't feel bad, dude. I got a face meant for radio. Okay.
I've been told that before too, so I understand.
Exactly. Yeah. My mother slaps me, so role playing games for me are a mark of sanity. I was in law enforcement for a number of years, and then I was overseas in Desert Storm, and so for years, I suffered with PTSD and didn't even know it because I didn't know what PTSD was. I was just angry at the world, and so this whole hobby, this industry is so self-medicating for me and self-healing, that it's not even funny. It's one of those things that I can say role-playing games saved my life, because there was a point in my life where I wanted to eat a bullet and call it a day. I didn't want to go on anymore. I was going through a horrible divorce. I was losing my kid. I lost my job. Everything was in the shitter. Everything. And, luckily my good friend called me up and said, hey, we need a GM, man. And I was telling my friends how, what a great GM you are. Come run for us. And I was like, well, I don't know. And then there was a knock at my door, and they were all at my door. And they're like, they came in and they're like, hey, we just, we wanted to make sure you were home. And, they piled in, and we played for 6 hours that night. And, so to say the least, that role-playing games saved my life is pretty accurate. And then thanks to my current wife, I got some therapy and everything, and it made a huge difference. So, mental health is severe, and take it seriously for what it's worth, but not to be a downer, but just to say that guys like you keep guys like me going is literally what I'm saying.
It's a good topic to bring up, man. I know you're certainly not alone in that. And thank you for your service, by the way. But I know we have been promoting some videos recently from a tabletop YouTube channel that got started called Deeges and Dragons.
Yep.
And
I subscribed.
We were on the podcast that they do adjacent to that, and a lot of what they do when they look at RPGs is one of them, actually has professional training in counseling and things like that. So they look at it from a therapy perspective, and we had a lot of conversation about how RPGs, this industry in general, can really help people.
Yeah, it can be therapeutic. Well, I mean, if you look, there was a Kickstarter a couple of years ago by a gentleman that he didn't work for Palladium, but he was very close to Palladium, and he had a YouTube channel where he touted all the joys of Palladium books. For those that don't know, Palladium is Rifts and Palladium Fantasy and the debacle that is Kevin Symbieta. I won't go any further into that. But the young man was doing a board game at the same time the Rifts miniature game or the Robotech miniatures game was going on. And he got so much hate and antagonistic messages and threats and stuff that he tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And luckily his wife's a nurse and she was able to save his life and get him help. And then he's doing better now. And I had posted that story in one of my channels when I was doing a bit on Robotech and everything. And I won't mention the guy's name for privacy issues and respect to him. But he reached out to me after I posted the video and he thanked me, and we had a great discussion about it, about what this industry can be toxic, just like any industry can be, and I moved to Minnesota 2 years ago and I became friends with one of the police officers and he's like, hey man, you're in pretty good shape, you're pretty healthy. We can get you back on the force. All we got to do is write a letter to the governor, and to the mayor of Duluth, and we can get you back, probably get your rank and everything, And I told him, in all honesty, I said, man, I couldn't do it. I said, because nowadays some 16-year-old kid spits on me, I'm gonna shoot him. I don't have the tolerance and the patience to, and I see what these police officers go through, and there's no respect from today's youth and stuff like that. And it's a horrible situation that we live in. And I just couldn't do it. So having something like this, and for everybody, it's something different. Some people it's music, some people it's videos or, computer games or role-playing games. I personally have a very difficult time playing like Call of Duty type games because they bring up images and memories of things that happened in the past that just aren't, but I can sit there and play Borderlands 3 for 6 hours straight without getting up to take a piss. So it's just a matter of it's a weird dichotomy of what triggers what, and so.
Oh, yeah.
I just think the world is a better place, without sounding too soppy. The world is a better place for guys like you guys that make wonderful worlds for us to lose ourselves in.
Oh, that's a real honor. A real nice thing for you to say, and I can say, speaking as someone who's struggled with the same similar demons that you probably have, on the developer side of things, working on Shattered probably saved my life on more than one occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to the Dungeons and Dragons guys about this, and for some people, and I'm one of those people where if I have a project, I don't want to leave it unfinished.
Right.
So I tend to keep a lot of projects around, a lot of projects going, floating around out there, so that if I ever get in a really dark place again, I won't ever want to leave without them being done.
Right.
And that'll keep me around. And for the people like me that operate that way, like having a game running, having a D&D game, Pathfinder, 40K, doesn't matter what it is. If you have a game running, that's your next step. Like whatever you're struggling with, you don't want to be alive anymore, but you want to get to the next session.
Yeah.
Because you're having a lot of fun with that story, and and maybe that next session is the thing that keeps you going.
Yeah.
And so it's incredibly valuable to have stuff like this around.
Well, and just between you three guys, how long have you three known each other?
Oh God, I kind of lost
2013, so 7 years.
7 years.
I've been with the team.
When the heck did we leave high school?
Well, you graduated a year before me, but the first time I met you was my first D&D game with Cypher and Dave way back in the day.
Cypher.
And yeah, so it's been, and I was a sophomore. Pretty sure I was a sophomore. And you might have been a junior or senior by that point. So yeah, it's been a long ass time.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Me too, Mr. Mean. I didn't realize that they knew like each other that long ago, but also I didn't know you guys knew Cypher like as a real person.
Oh yeah.
I thought you guys had all got together online to play games.
Oh yeah,
Cypher is tied into the game's history, so we can get into that another time. But that's an adventure.
That's a long and fun story, depending on who you are.
That's a story for another time.
Maybe one offline. So, because I know Tex had some fond, memories of everything, and gaming with you guys, and that's that's the fruit that was born, called Shattered, and that's, it's so neat that and here's the thing, and take this in all seriousness, you guys developed a game world, and later on a game, but you developed a world that, you guys, to you, it's yours. You know what I mean? It's like bread and butter. It's every day. You know it inside and out. But not only that, the magical part is you took this product, you put a mechanic to it, you got art for it, you brought it alive, right? I can physically hold it in my hands, and it's a living, breathing thing in my mind and in every other GM and or player's mind. So take that as a kudo, because at the end of the day, there's thousands of people breathing in your world. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Literally, I tell people all the time that I have three loves, right? It's my kid, my wife, and then the first time I held our fucking book. Like, that's
right.
Yeah.
And every time I pick up one of our books, there's just that little glimmer of glee that like runs through my body. I'm like,
come on, let's not lie. You sport a little wood. Come on,
book,
tell the truth.
I still did it, and I still have a game, and I can still share it, and that's
right. I mean, I keep it on my iPad to show my friends whenever I go over to another friend, like, because let's face it, most of our circle is we have non-gaming friends, but we have probably more gaming friends than we do non. My boss, well, I'm a, what do you call it? I'm a permanent contractor for a major oil company up here in Duluth. So I work for another company. So I'm a managed service provider. So I provide service to this company here in Duluth, but I work for a company out of Canada. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So my on-site manager, and he has no authority over me except that he could pick up the phone and say, hey, get this fucking guy off the site. But I treat him as my manager because I respect him. I admire him. He's a young guy. He's got 3 kids. He's just a good human being. And then on top of that, he's great technical. He's very smart and just finished up his master's program. Super nice guy. So he's taking us all out to lunch one day, and he kind of because I always hang in the back because I'm always the center of attention. I got the big mouth. So there's times like when I'm with my peers and stuff that I just shut up and yeah, I let everybody else talk. So I'm walking in the back, and he, slows down and he starts walking with me, and he's like, so I hear you run Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, yes, sir. Yeah. And he's like, and he's asking me all these questions. You're like, well, how do you moderate this, and how do you deal with that? And, all of those questions, it's like, Conrad, if I wanted to borrow $20, so yeah, paydays, your pay's good. Yeah. You're on top of your bills. Yeah. You got a little pocket change. Yeah. Well, so now that I know all of that, can I borrow $20? Right? And that's kind of where that conversation was going. And so I'm like, I looked over and I go, Anthony, do you want to fucking play the game? And he's like, well, could I? And I'm like, yeah, man, totally. Be there Friday at 7:00. And now, then he got about, I think, 3 or 4 sessions in, and then COVID hit. And so he just texted me the other day, and he's like, I'm jonesing, man. When are we going to go back to playing? Right. So I'm like, and then my coworker, the guy that works with me, he heard that I was a dungeon master. And so he comes to me and he's like, "Are you running a game right now?" And I said, "No, I'm kind of in between groups. I don't really." He's like, "Dude, my son will play. That's 2 players. I can probably gather up 2 or 3 other guys. We run." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because Anthony wants to play." He's like, "No way, Anthony plays." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "No, he doesn't, but he wants to." So long story short, like half of my gaming group is my coworkers that I work with all day long, and then every Friday they come over to my house and they bring me bribes. They bring me Mountain Dew game fuel because I'm a whore for it, and they bring me snacks. So and I tell them bribing the GM is totally acceptable. So yeah, I mean
That's how you get inspiration.
That's right. That's how you get. That's right. And how you keep your character alive. And I always. My coworker, I always walk by his office. I'm like, it's a game night, right? I walk by his office and I go, "I'm going to kill a cleric." And he's like, "You wish," because he's playing a cleric in Pathfinder. So yeah, this hobby is a way of life for some people, and it's a great thing. And then for you guys to come along and make awesome products like you do just makes our life that much better. And what I want to see, me personally, is I want to see all of my meanies out there go out and buy a copy of the book, goddammit, or I'm going to come to your house and stab you with a spork. Disclaimer, probably because I'm fat and lazy and I won't get off my ass.
That'll be motivation for him right there, I'm sure.
I mean, I am Mr. Mean, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, though, is it's such a rich, cool world. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. And if try something besides D&D or Pathfinder,
Please, it doesn't have to be our game. Just try
Yeah, exactly. Dungeon World,
Everybody is John. That'll mess up your head so much. It's a ton of fun. Basically, everyone is playing as the same character, and all of your dice rolls are just, for 1, to take control of John, and 2, to accomplish your secret goals, which you have set up yourself.
An amazing game.
It's a ton of fun.
Paranoia.
In like 30 minutes. And then John falls asleep, the game's over. It's beautiful. Right. You just tally it up at the end.
Paranoia is another great one, where you can just be absolutely silly and do crazy things.
Paranoia is a lot of fun. Dread, if you've never played that, is fantastic. And there's no dice, but you use a Jenga tower.
Right.
And every you're a bunch of teenagers trying to escape an axe murderer, essentially, and every action that you take that would reasonably put you in danger, you have to draw a tile from the Jenga tower. And if the Jenga tower collapses on your pole, your character dies.
Yep, you're dead. But the game...
So much fun. I've never played a game where I've actually felt that...
Dread.
That apprehension. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
But play something. Play anything, because there's so many good games out there.
Cards Against Humanity, apples to apples.
From crunch like D&D in our game to like rules light storytelling games, is everything. Anything anybody could want is out there. It's got to go for it.
And like Coen Brothers films, there's Fiasco.
Fiasco is amazing.
A Coen Brothers film. That's like the entire concept of the game.
Right. Dogs in the Vineyard, another good one. Rules light.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say that. It's so good. If you want a Western game, Dogs in the Vineyard is great.
Yeah.
It can be as supernatural or as mundane as you want it to be. But basically, you play as like these religious enforcers almost, and you're roaming the Wild West.
And you're doing very bad things.
Dudes, if you have to.
I just posted a video tonight about this. One of my viewers sent me this. He didn't ask me to review. It's called the Mudlark Hack, and it's on DriveThruRPG. It's $3.99. It's a complete game. It's 25 pages. It's an OGL, but it's the farthest thing from OGL that you can get. It's got an escalating dice system, or a scaling dice system, where if the dice explodes, you take the next higher dice and you roll it. If it explodes, you take the next higher, So you're using all of your polyhedrals. For all you game nerds that have 1,000,000,001 dice, this is the game for you. But it's 25 pages. It's a labor of love by this guy, Conrad, or Cameron Orwin. And he started a drive-through account the other day, and he put this up after talking to me. And I it's this This is you guys 10 years ago. You know, this is a guy.
No, it's not. I promise. I'm sure whatever you have is much better than mine.
No, you're being modest. Yeah.
I don't know if I sent you a copy, but I should someday. We have these old alpha playtest books that we printed very foolishly.
The game I ran before I joined the team. That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about? Yeah.
100 pages. It was printed from a Word document. It was like we didn't have any art. The only art we had was the logo. And, oh my God, man.
Painful.
It's the reason I became the lead editor. I played it. I loved it so much that I was like, but I had some questions and some concerns about, some wording wasn't clear. And so they started answering my questions. I was like, oh, well, you could have worded it better like this. You could have done this. I'm like, yeah, well, here's the source documents. If you want to take a look, we appreciate it. If you have any other questions. And next thing you know, I'm highlighting the whole thing. And then
so instead of on black and white, it was black, white, and yellow.
It just kept going with why don't you just join the company and keep doing this?
We could fucking hire this guy.
We love the book so much, we changed the entire thing.
Yeah.
I remember during the original Kickstarter, I remember one of the posts. Who was doing the Kickstarter updates? That was Tex, right? Was he doing most of the?
Tex and Zip, I think.
Me and Tex primarily.
I think actually Zip. I think it was you that sent out a message going, the awesome playtest feedback was great. Now we have to go back and rewrite everything. It was something to that effect. I was like, shit, this is going to be a lot of work. It's what it really boiled down to. But you put it much, more eloquently than I could have, because I don't have a college education. I'm just a big dumb kid from Brooklyn that joined the military.
Hey man, it's okay. I don't have one either. So
yeah, I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
Halfway there.
So is there anything else you guys want to? I mean, we're an hour and 16 minutes into this. I appreciate your guys' time. Awesome content.
We'll have to schedule something later for a one-on-one. I have been working on a small rules light tabletop RPG myself outside of Shattered. So whenever I get that ready, we'll have to talk about it.
I would love to, man, and we can do it offline too if you prefer. That. Yeah. My Discord is always open to all of you guys. I feel, take this with all seriousness. I love you guys. You guys have made a wonderful world that, I get to torture players. I mean, I get to run exciting adventures for players. And that's what it's all about. And I appreciate all the hard work. And I know it is a total labor of love because the book shows it. I mean, all kidding and joking aside, the book shows the dedication and the love that you guys put into it. And I want other people to experience it as well. And I wholeheartedly look forward to anything else you guys put out because it's just going to be gold as far as I'm concerned. I want those tarot cards.
I hope so.
Definitely appreciate it.
Don't make me blush.
Don't make me blush.
But don't sell yourself short, man. I mean, we do like to think of ourselves as part of a community of indie creatives doing all kinds of different things between, us, you, Bear, Feral Gamers. We've got a lot of people, out there grinding to do whatever it is they want to do. And so, shout out to everybody that's out there working on whatever it is that is a passion of theirs.
I'm going to say the big thing, too, is if you're sitting in that garage, hypothetical garage with the Cheeto stains on your T-shirt, World of Warcraft, on pause in the background, and you're in front of your typewriter or your computer or your word processor or your iPad with a Bluetooth keyboard, just write, man. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Just fucking write it.
Right.
Get your...
The book.
Just right.
Just find your Conrad. I'm pointing to you, Conrad. Find your Conrad and get them to edit the fuck out of it and make it readable.
I'm open. I'm willing to discuss, negotiate prices.
Work for hire, right?
I'm available.
We'll work for RPGs. That's my motto.
Realistically, the same thing. I mean, I've offered my layout services to a few people too. So yeah.
I would take that. If you like the way the book looks, And the way it's organized, that's your guy.
So I'm going to throw this out to the meanies out there that are watching this. If, guys like Cameron, literally, this is a labor of love. Guys, if you have an extra $4, go pick it up. Tell me what you think. Post it on my Discord or post it in the notes here. Show this guy some love because it's just like you guys. I mean, you can see the attention to detail in here, and it's 25 pages. There's no world. It's assumed the fantasy world or D&D or whatever you want. But I've said this in the past. It takes a lot of cojones to do what you guys do. You put all of this love and effort into a book, and you put it out there for people to buy it. And for every one guy that says, "Oh, this is great," there's probably 3 more that are going, "Oh, this sucks balls," And that's just...
We don't hear from them that often.
No.
The community we have in Discord is like...
Oh, they're amazing.
They know we put a lot of time into... I mean, how many years have we sunk into this so far?
I don't want to talk
Some
about
more than others.
Yeah.
And quite a few, right?
Yeah.
But that's my point is it's a labor of love. Yeah, it's a labor of love. And if it wasn't for guys like you, guys like Cameron, Richard Woolcock, another indie publisher guy that does a lot of stuff for Savage Worlds. Guys like that, Richard Lamoureux, Canadian friend of mine. Canada, America Light, not quite good enough to be America, but close. I always bust his balls about that. But and like I said, I work for a Canadian company, so I really can't talk shit. But I do anyway. But the point is these are the guys that, are making it. WotC, D&D, Pathfinder, they've got their place. These guys like you are struggling to get your name out there. And, I challenge my meanie army to go out and pick up a copy of this book, whether you do it on PDF or you buy a physical book, or if you're in your garage slaving over that keyboard, 10,000 words an evening, push it off to Conrad, or, you need some layout advice, reach out to Zip, on their Discord, and take advantage of that, man. And these guys have been in the trenches. They've done the dirty work. They know what it takes to make a game happen. And so, if you can reach out to them and they're willing, Jesus, I mean, take that free advice, or
Absolutely.
Even if they charge you, $10 or a 6-pack of beer or, soda, whatever, it's a small price to pay because it might just be the difference that makes your game go, silver or platinum on DriveThruRPG or wherever. And, that can mean a lot to somebody. So I thank you guys for everything you do and reaching out and, taking your time, to talk with some knucklehead from Brooklyn who, didn't graduate to 10th grade. So.
Hey, man, it's been my pleasure. I've told Tex before that if you're ever looking for a guest to hop on and shoot the shit about this game or that game or whatever, I'm always willing.
I want to do another series where we talk about different RPGs. So if you guys are down, not only because you're in the industry and you're indie press, but because you're gamers. You know what I mean? You play a regular game, you chuck dice, you create, elaborate characters, or even if they're one-dimensional, I kick a door, I kill. That's still gaming, and if that's your idea of fun, there's no wrong way to game, right? Barring where it physically hurts or emotionally scars somebody, which I've been accused of doing, so we won't get into that. That's a story for another day. Involves a shoebox and a White Wolf game. We won't get into it. We'll talk about it offline. But yeah, I totally want to do that. So if you guys are down for that, maybe we'll schedule something in the future and just talk about, maybe the format will be, grab like 3 different RPGs. We each grab like 3 RPGs and we talk about them. I think that would be, I think that's a great format. It hasn't been done before that I've seen. And I mean, I'm almost up to 700 subscribers, man. I'm almost YouTube famous.
Nice, man. Nice.
I'm almost YouTube famous, almost. And I don't do it for the subs. I do it for the fun and because I get to talk to cool guys like you. And I get to hear my own voice, which I love. So
there it is.
That's really what it's on. Screw you guys. I just want to hear me ramble. No, you guys make this all possible because without you, there is no me. If that even sounds right. So starting with Conrad, anything you want to say in closing? Shout outs or anything like that?
No, I don't think I have it, man. I appreciate any chance we get to talk about this game. I could talk about it for years and not run out of information to talk about.
We will
so much.
Definitely do it again.
Any chance I get to just monologue is great.
Lost, what about you, buddy?
Just thanks for listening. I mean, this is like, we don't really get to do this very often, and have just getting to like talk, man. Just whatever. It's been a nice change of pace.
Cool. Well, I'm glad I could facilitate. And last but not least, Mr. Zip.
Yeah. All I can say, obviously, thank you for having us, and we're more than happy to come back again in the future. Anybody listening or watching, join us on Discord, discord.gg/I.N.D.E, or check us out on DriveThruRPG or on our website at neverdarkenough.com.
All right. Well, I want to wrap it up by just saying much love and thank you guys for taking time out, spending it with this knucklehead. And as always, as Mr. Mean always says, like and subscribe. And remember, peace and hair grease, and be nice.